Hello again, and welcome back to another edition of the Wiccan Conservative. Today, I am going to be bringing you judicial ethics. I read an article again this morning from the Los Angeles Times, although it was copy and pasted onto the Microsoft News Network, and that's exactly how I got a hold of it. But this interested me because of our current situation in the court system. So it seems that Congress is actually taking note that the Supreme Court has a very lackadaisical judicial review process. And sorry to inform you guys, but so does the rest of the world. There's really not any good way for an average citizen to hold their judiciary accountable. But here's where we are. So apparently, due to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the constituency has gotten pissed off and they want recourse on the Supreme Court justices. So what they are going to attempt to do is reconcile their own differences. What they really want is for the judges to go and make their own code of ethics and create a process that is easy and accessible to the public so they can redress their grievances with the courts. They want the ethics review to be similar to the ones that happen in local jurisdictions and United States district court judges, so on the lower levels. And if anybody knows anything about the ethics review processes on the lower levels, it's that they're very focused on funding and improper monies and monetary donations and things like that. The Supreme Court justice mess seems to be focused on recusals, and they want people to, or they want their justices to review each other when they have to step down or recuse themselves from a case, which would make the process more internal than external. In my opinion, I think that they really need to hammer out actual ethical violations for statutes and holding themselves to the Constitution, honestly, as opposed to where they're getting their donations, or if their acts outside of their job description are deemed improprietable or is something that is inappropriate in a courtroom. Those things are very obvious, in my opinion, and can actually be handled through appeals processes on most cases. The issues that we have regarding judges that just work outside of the constitutional constraints and judges that decide that they don't want to uphold laws in their own jurisdictions is more of a ethical issue in my opinion than say taking donations. Again, those things are very cut and dry. We have recourse for those actions. We can fix 95% of those things inside the court system with the already existing procedures. But what we, the people, don't have recourse for is judges who decide to do what they want to do when they want to do it inside the courtroom and act as if it is an interpretation of law. Now, I think that goes back into confusing constituency. If a judge upholds a legal loophole in a court of law, it sets precedent. And 99% of legal attorneys work on precedent, not necessarily law. So we are undermining and bypassing our own law inside the courtroom that is aided by the judicial body. So in this article, they went on to say that Congress would step in and actually write legislation for this judicial ethics review process if the judges or the justices weren't able to do it themselves. Now, this actually creates a very interesting dynamic in the separation of powers, because the judicial branch is supposed to be a separate check and balance on the legislator. how is it that the legislator can turn around and, you know, hold the judiciary accountable to their job in a way that doesn't break the separation of powers? It's going to be interesting to say the least, because I don't think that the Supreme Court justices are going to be able to persuade the public that their ethics review process is going to work, or that it is properly constrained by the Constitution. I think that if Congress just went ahead and utilized their check and balance of impeachment, or even just tried to hone in and refine the impeachment process from, the Supreme Court level all the way down to the local level, that we would see a lot better results from those proceedings, impeachment proceedings, removing justices from benches that may have been there too long, or exceeded their constitutional prerequisites and requirements, because that is already an existing procedure. You don't have to write new legislation for it. You don't even really have to think that hard about it, because it's already been written and established. What you have to do is revisit it and actually put it into use. But I digress. This is what they are focusing on, which I'm all for if we are actually going to talk about judicial ethics and not monetary ethics. We lost the plot when it comes down to allowing money into the system, to allow it to infiltrate and persuade people inside high-ranking positions. You're talking about PACs and donors and things like that when elections come around. And it's no different when a judge is appointed or elected to any sitting position on the bench. I will leave a link to the article in the description box below, and you can read that at your own leisure. And I think that you really need to take a look at what's happening on a higher scale and ask yourself what is happening on the local scale when it comes to the same issues, because we see it being talked a lot on the Supreme Court justice level, but how many of your judges are doing the exact same things in your local town? So on that note, that's your homework for the day, and I will catch you guys on the next one.